Welcome to Holy Heartbeats. My name is Nathan, and I narrate Christ-centered testimonies from all over the world. These testimonies include rapture and end times visions, near-death experiences, encounters with angels and demons, Satan, God, and Jesus Christ. Please consider subscribing to my channel if you are fond of listening to these types of stories, and let me know what you think about these testimonies in the comments section below. Furthermore, for those who want to share their personal testimonies, visions, and revelations from God, you can send us your own stories at holyheartbeats7@gmail.com. I will be very honored to read your testimony, which may inspire, edify, and encourage a lot of people in their personal journey of faith with the Lord Jesus Christ. Now, without further ado, let's get started.
This morning, Japan has issued its first ever megaquake advisory. This follows the magnitude 7.1 earthquake off Kyushu's southeastern coast last week. While the quake caused no fatalities or severe damage, the advisory is prompted by increased seismic risks associated with the 9.12.
Hi, Nathan. Hi, everyone. I'm Chris, and I had a terrible vision of what's going to happen soon, which no one really saw coming. What triggered me to send this vision was what's going on with the news about Japan getting hit by a mega earthquake. All this news left me feeling very anxious and fearful. I still am. I am not prepared for this. I think no one will ever be prepared for this. I don't know how to properly describe how I feel. I need to share this with people, so please, give this a chance. I don't know how to begin this, honestly. I've never had an experience like this before. I'm 32 years old, living a pretty ordinary life here in Austin, Texas, and the idea of having a prophetic vision is it's surreal. But I feel compelled to share what I saw. Maybe it's just a dream, but it felt so real, so vivid that I can't shake it off. I need to put it into words, and I hope that by doing so, someone might take it seriously. You might even ignore this message, but I will still take the chance. I feel compelled to share this to your channel, so please give this a chance. Maybe it's a warning. Maybe it's something that can be prevented. I don't know, I just need to get this out there. This happened to me last August 12th, 2024. It started like any other night. I was exhausted from a long day at work and fell asleep quickly. But then, I was no longer in my bed. I was somewhere else, somewhere terrifying. I found myself standing in the middle of a bustling city in Southeast Asia. I knew it was Southeast Asia because I had been there before. I traveled with my family on a dream vacation last 2014, and we visited Philippines, Japan, Singapore, and China. Anyways, back to my experience. The air was thick with humidity, and the streets were crowded with people going about their daily lives. It was a normal day, but there was a strange tension in the air, like the calm before a storm. Suddenly, the ground beneath me began to shake violently. It started as a low rumble, but within seconds, it escalated into a full-blown earthquake. Buildings swayed and then began to collapse one after another like dominoes falling in slow motion. The noise was deafening, the sound of structures crumbling, people screaming, and car alarms blaring all at once. I tried to move, but the ground was shifting so much that I couldn't keep my balance. I was thrown to the ground, feeling the earth convulse beneath me. I could see people around me doing the same, falling, stumbling, trying to find something to hold on to. Then I was lifted, almost as if I was floating above the chaos, able to see everything happening from a higher perspective. I saw the city being torn apart, buildings collapsing, roads splitting open. Fires broke out from ruptured gas lines, adding to the horror. But it didn't stop there. The earthquake seemed to trigger a chain reaction. I was suddenly aware of other earthquakes happening around the world, as if the entire planet was reacting to this one event. The ground was shaking everywhere, from the largest cities to the smallest villages. The scene changed, and I saw the ocean. Massive waves were forming, tsunamis triggered by the earthquakes rushing towards the land with an unstoppable force. Coastal cities were being swallowed up by the water, and I could see people running, trying to escape the deluge, but it was futile. The waves were too fast, too powerful. Then, as if that wasn't enough, I saw volcanoes. Underwater volcanoes, usually dormant, were now erupting with a ferocity I had never imagined. The ocean was boiling, the sky darkened with ash and smoke. It was like the earth itself was angry, lashing out in every way possible. The vision shifted again, and I saw the aftermath. The world was unrecognizable. Cities were in ruins, landscapes scarred and changed beyond recognition. The survivors, those who had managed to escape the initial destruction, were struggling. There was no clean water, no food. Diseases spread rapidly, taking advantage of the weakened state of humanity. I saw people, their faces etched with despair, trying to find shelter, trying to find their loved ones. The sense of loss was overwhelming. So many had died, and those who lived were facing a future that seemed hopeless. There was famine, as crops had been destroyed and supply lines cut off. Depression was rampant. The mental toll of the catastrophe evident in the haunted eyes of the survivors. I could see it all so clearly. The desperation, the suffering, the sheer scale of the disaster. It was worse than anything I had ever seen in movies or read about in books. This was real, and it was happening everywhere all at once. And then I was back in my bed, gasping for breath, my heart pounding in my chest. It took me a few moments to realize that it had been a vision, not reality, but it felt so real. I can still feel the ground shaking, still hear the screams, still see the faces of those who survived, marked by the horrors they had witnessed. I don't know what to make of this. Was it just a nightmare or something more? A warning, perhaps? I feel like I need to tell people, to make them aware of what could happen. Maybe there's something we can do to prevent it, to prepare for it. I'm just an ordinary person, not a prophet, not someone who's ever had visions before. But this was something I can't ignore. I don't want to cause panic, but I feel like I need to share this, to let people know what I saw. Maybe together, we can find a way to avoid the catastrophe that I witnessed. I hope and pray that it was just a dream, that none of it will come to pass. But if there's even a chance that it's real, that it could happen, then we need to be ready. We need to take it seriously. So, here it is. This is what I saw, what I experienced. I hope that by sharing it, I'm not just relieving my own mind, but maybe helping to avert a disaster. Maybe there's still time. Maybe we can still change the future. Hi again, Nathan. I am sorry for sending you another email, but I had another vision that I know was closely related to the vision I had 4 days ago. Last night, I went to sleep as usual, and for some reason, that terrible dream or nightmare I had a few nights ago happened again, but this time, I received more details of the location, events, etc. I need to write it all down, every single detail, so that it's out there, so that people can hear it and understand the magnitude of what I saw. I am hoping you will include this message if ever you decide to share this with your audience. Anyways, as the dream was taking place, I began to realize that the destruction was not confined to Southeast Asia. The mega earthquake seemed to set off a domino effect, triggering seismic activities around the globe. I saw the Earth's crust rippling like water, tectonic plates grinding against each other with such force that the entire planet seemed to tremble. The vision shifted to different parts of the world. In California, I saw the San Andreas Fault giving way, causing massive quakes that reduced cities like Los Angeles and San Francisco to rubble. The iconic Golden Gate Bridge collapsed into the bay and skyscrapers toppled like children's building blocks. In Japan, the Ring of Fire was ablaze with volcanic eruptions, and Tokyo was engulfed in a sea of molten lava and ash. Everywhere I looked, there was chaos. People were running for their lives, but there was nowhere safe to go. In Europe, I saw earthquakes tearing through Italy, Greece, and Turkey, ancient buildings and monuments crumbling into dust. The Eiffel Tower in Paris stood precariously before it too fell, a symbol of human achievement laid low by the forces of nature. The tsunamis that followed were unimaginably huge, towering waves that swept over entire islands and coastal regions. I saw the waters rushing into cities, drowning everything in their path. The floods were relentless, turning streets into rivers, submerging homes, schools, hospitals, and everything else. As if the earthquakes and tsunamis weren't enough, The vision showed me the volcanic eruptions in more detail. Underwater volcanoes, previously dormant for centuries, were now spewing lava and ash into the ocean. The heat from these eruptions was causing the water to boil, killing marine life and sending plumes of steam and smoke into the sky. The ash clouds from the volcanoes spread across the globe, blocking out the sun and plunging the world into darkness. Temperatures dropped drastically, and the planet was thrown into a state of volcanic winter. Crops failed, leading to widespread famine. The air was thick with ash, making it difficult to breathe, and respiratory illnesses became rampant. I saw people huddling together in makeshift shelters, their faces gaunt and hollow from hunger and despair. Disease spread quickly in these cramped conditions, and without proper medical supplies, even minor illnesses became deadly. There was no escape from the misery, it was everywhere. The mental toll on the survivors was immense. The constant fear, the loss of loved ones, the uncertainty of the future, it all weighed heavily on their minds. Depression and anxiety were widespread, and many people lost the will to live. I saw scenes of individuals and families, once hopeful and full of life, now broken and despondent. The vision was relentless, showing me every aspect of the catastrophe in excruciating detail. I saw the economic collapse that followed the physical destruction. With major cities and infrastructures in ruins, global trade came to a standstill. There was no way to transport goods, no way to communicate, no way to coordinate relief efforts. The world was in a state of anarchy. Governments struggled to maintain order, but the scale of the disaster was too great. In some places, martial law was declared, and the military took control, but even they were overwhelmed by the sheer number of people in need of help. Resources were scarce, and conflicts broke out over what little remained. I saw glimpses of hope amidst the chaos. Small communities banding together, people helping each other, sharing what little they had. There were acts of kindness and bravery, but they were overshadowed by the enormity of the suffering. The vision ended with a scene that I can't get out of my mind. It was a view of Earth from space. The planet, once vibrant and full of life, now looked dark and lifeless. The lights of the cities were gone, replaced by the dim glow of fires burning uncontrolled. The atmosphere was choked with ash and smoke, and the oceans were a swirling mass of storms and turbulence. As I woke up, I saw that I was soaked in sweat. I was crying too, sobbing and crying like I never did before. I felt an intense sense of dread. I knew that what I had seen was not just a nightmare, but a warning. A glimpse of what could happen, which I sense is very imminent. Will it take place this year? Next year, maybe? I don't know. But I had to share this with people. I told my wife and kids about this, and they are now as anxious and scared as I am. I don't know why I was chosen to see this, but I believe it's my duty to share it, to make people aware of the potential danger we face. I hope that by writing this and sharing this with others, I can help to prevent the vision from becoming reality. We need to be prepared, to take steps to protect ourselves and our planet. The future is not set in stone, and like what they say, together as people, we can make a difference. People will be running for their lives. Isaiah chapter 24 verses 17 to 20 says, "Fear and the pit and the snare are upon thee, O inhabitant of the earth. And it shall come to pass, that he who fleeth from the noise of the fear shall fall into the pit, and he that cometh up out of the midst of the pit shall be taken in the snare. For the windows from on high are open, and the foundations of the earth do shake. The earth is utterly broken down, the earth is clean dissolved, the earth is moved exceedingly. The earth shall reel to and fro like a drunkard, and shall be removed like a cottage, and the transgression thereof shall be heavy upon it, and it shall fall, and not rise again. People of the earth, prepare, for I have seen it all. Man by himself alone, without help from God, can't stand the soon-coming disaster. In a while, when the storm of judgment strikes in full force, all inhabitants of this earth, every form of life, will be running for their dear life. The Lord has been revealing and showing me what the desperation of people is when calamities strike. There is a time to hear, there is a time to heed, there is a time to prepare, and finally there is a time to run for dear life from the impending cataclysm, disaster, and destruction. We have thoroughly and exhaustively presented all the messages from the Lord in detail and in the form of a summary. It is only the mockers and the scoffers who question why all these repeated warnings. At one point, out of concern for seeing fear in the minds and hearts of people, we concealed the number of casualties given by the Lord. Later, we gave the figure as millions, only from a specific metro city area. Considering the total casualties from the impending all-out storm, no one can bear the heaviness and the staggering number. It is coming. This is the reason why repeated messages and warnings are given to warn the people to prepare for the inevitable. Mass exodus, dislocation, and desolation are the soon-coming norms for the entire world. The truth is, only from what comes from the Atlantic, there will be mass death, devastation untold, and sufferings unimaginable. In the other case, the West Coast, people will not have a chance to escape. People in many big cities will not have a chance. What comes is sudden destruction. The time to prepare was now, but hoping life will continue as it is has deceived the world. The Lord, at the end of the 5 phases of chaos, has shown us the toll of the disaster. As revealed to me, the population of the U.S. will be thinned. One can imagine what will be the outcome of the decimated East and West coasts, the center, the South, and the Southwest. What these devastations are were presented on this website step by step until we looked like fools and idiots. The time for the mockers and the scoffers transformed into lamentation and wailing is here. Whoever has listened has prepared. Countless lives are in the dark, and so many have ignored the warnings. In spite of the true reality for the storm of all sorts to bring mass casualties and distractions, the messages out are seen by a few thousand. The failure to heed these strong warnings has very much angered the Lord. I saw messages from the Lord calling 40 times saying, "Return to me." This single message alone tells the heaviness of what is to befall this planet we inhabit for now. We have presented a good account of a true vision of the fiery anger of the Lord. His face fiery with anger, his hair wool white which looks like strong wind passing through. Who stands in the face of an angry God? When calamities strike, how do people react? This is also another way of sending the message. The Lord, without telling what the calamities are, has revealed a number of reactions of people desperately running for their dear lives. Like a motion picture, in different visions and dreams, I have seen people. 1. Running on the East Coast, from the quake and the Atlantic tsunami. 2. Desperately running in the city center. 3. Running to the caves of the mountains, from the city to the mountain caves. 4. Running in the city from the chaos. 5. Running from the city in disaster, the many snares. 6. Running away from the city fire. 7. Running away from nuclear explosions. Since many of these desperate events are given in detail on this website, we will mention 2 of them, which are good representatives of the calamities. Chaos in the Appalachian Mountains. I am watching from above, closer to the ground. They are, humans and animals, trying to cross a street that winds around a hill, a mountain range, the Appalachian Mountains range. First, I see cattle running, then I see cars and many military armored vehicles. Some of the armored vehicles have round receiver-like devices on top of them. They are speeding up with no concern for accidents. It looks like they're running from something. I don't see what it is. They are running fast in terror for their lives. I was telling them to slow down. It is a curve, but no one hears me. They are running without realizing it is a curve. Some of the military armor vehicles and some of the soldiers, fully armed, are taking positions on the hillside next to the west of the mountain range. What are they running from? From these revelations given by our Lord, the warnings are out and final. Here on, it is up to every individual to take the necessary measures needed to save their lives. Since this involves a large number of lives on the East Coast, repeated warnings from many sources are appropriate. What many have seen is true, and it is coming, very soon than anyone can imagine. In fear of creating chaos, the authorities will not tell the public even if they see the meteor coming. By the time they announce the imminent impact, it is too late. From our side, our job is done. Warnings after warnings until we look like we are going through a rut. Now, there is no room for doubt. Trust the Lord. Running from something very frightening. We are running from something very frightening. I don't know what it is, but we are running from it. We are running as fast as we can for our dear lives from the chaos of the city. We have reached a cliff, and we have to jump. It is a deep terrain, somewhat more than 20 stories high. We have to jump. There is no other choice. What is behind us is more frightening than what is in front. We took courage from the desperation, and we jumped. I see one person by my left side, dressed in a business suit, looking good with a black hand suitcase or bag in his left hand. He is holding something heavy in his hand. He jumped first from the cliff to the deep water of the flood on the ground, very near the wall of the cliff. He drowned deep to his neck, struggling to come out. I jumped next and rested on a shallow water of the incoming flood from the left side, a little further and safer than the man. We ran to the right where the water is shallow. We looked up the hill. From the valley, a big flood is heading towards us. Somehow we passed from the flood to a street that runs east to west. The street is flooded and water is flowing eastwards. Deep to our legs, we managed to pass the flood in the street. We are running. In front of us, the land is split. There is a deep trench, and we can't see the end of the dark pit. The dark pit runs like the flooded street we passed. I jumped over the dark pit, with enough effort and strength at ease, with no fear, dangerous, but saved. I don't know if the suitcase-holding man made it. I don't see him. He is no more. The scene changed or continued, and we ended up in a city. There is someone with me, by my side. It is the holy city. Good understanding and sensing the environment to learn that it is a city where no one trusts the other. The word came out of our mouth saying, "No one trusts the other." We went to the edge of the city. There are soldiers with camouflage clothes, and we are there with them, watching what is far in front, with our chests on the ground. This is a military post at the edge of the city. The two soldiers took us for someone who is spying to plant something evil. I told them, "We are friends of Israel," and I alarmed them, saying, "You can't keep friends." They felt the heaviness of the word as an order, and to our surprise, they left with no question. We have to go somewhere. A car is waiting for us. It is the old-style turtle Volkswagen. 3 of us, with 2 other friends, sat on the back seat of the car. There is someone we know in the passenger seat. We have to pick up a priest, Rabbi, waiting for us from a little further away. We can see him dressed in a white long outfit as old-time priests do, going down the street. He is watching us too. We're going up on this side of the fence, and the long, strong-built, charismatic, white-dressed Rabbi on the other side of the fence. This is the Lord going down the street on the other side of the fence. Going around the fence to reach him is the idea. The one on the front passenger seat took the driver's seat and started driving the car towards him along the fence on our side. The driver is dressed in light dark cloth. Deception. The whole scene ended without picking up the white-dressed rabbi, the Lord who is alone, watching us with concern, waiting, lowly with sadness. Take it to the Lord for the truth and for better understanding. Lord, have mercy on us. Shaking and darkness. In one night, the Lord gave me a revelation of 2 events. The darkness falling and the earth shaking, not in the sequence they are to happen. The visions, dreams, and revelations about the 2 events are what we have been warning about for a long time. The revelations of these 2 events at this time are surely the last warning before they come to pass. I have heard repeated messages over 50 or 60 times, the Lord calling his people saying, "Return to me, return to me, return to me." Such kinds of repeated warnings are sending one strong message about what is coming to the whole earth, something that mankind can't shoulder. The danger of the calamity ahead is seen through the repeated, very strong warnings delivered. Take this last message together with all the messages given to us from the Lord. It will certainly come to pass shortly. The shaking and the darkness are coming. I am in my place preparing a meal to eat. I prepared a plate, 3 smaller dishes of different kinds, and placed it on a small table. I am almost ready to sit and eat. Suddenly, surprising us, the darkness falls, and it became dark. I don't know how, at the same time, Trump and another person walked into the room. Trump sat on the chair I prepared to eat the meal. It is dark. We can't see. I reached from behind Trump and turned on the switch on the table for light. There is no light. I went to the door and checked if it is locked. The door doesn't lock. I pulled it open. I looked through the small gap outside. It is dark. I see a dark object moving like a dark shadow. I rebuked the evil thing in the name of the Lord. It disappeared. With no fear, I rebuked the evil around the corridor in the name of the Lord and tried to lock the door back. The door doesn't lock. I pushed it. It opens to the outside. I pulled it back. It opens towards the inside, nothing to hold it. There is no lock. The side of the door is a flat, blunt metal where there is no lock. I came back into the room. Throughout the darkness, I can see a little. There is some very dim light, enough to see. I'm not sure what to do. In the darkness, a person with a clean, light white dress brought out a big lantern, lighted it, and gone. I have a lantern that works with gasoline, but it is small. This source of light is bigger. Now there is bright light in the room. The person who came to the room from nowhere and brought the lantern and turned on the light is no more in the room. The person did this action fast. The scene ended there. Keep your doors closed and secure. No looking out. No opening. The imminent great earthquake. There is enormous tension in the air. People are perplexed. There is a very big pressure and tension around. People are in fear of the imminent great earthquake. There is a strong urgency to run and hide. We ran to our house with my mother. My mother is in heaven. She is no more on earth. We are running to our house to pray. I am ready to pray. My mother doesn't seem to care. We looked outside to see what is going on around. I see a big area in front of us. From inside the house, I see the earth as a sphere. I can see a very long distance, mountainous, a terrain of rugged land and forest. In that instant, right in front of us, I see the whole of the earth gone down, sinking down. I have no idea what has happened, but the whole mass of the earth, long distance, went down. I didn't feel the shaking. I didn't hear any land breaking. The earth where we stand on is stable, but the whole land in front of us went down. The earth is moved. Think of a large chunk of a shoreline breaking off and sinking down, but we didn't see the beginning, and we didn't see the end. It is a mass of land sinking down. Are we seeing the beginning of the shaking? I don't know. The fear we felt is unimaginable. The dread on us is as if the world is going to end. Fear, panic, terror, dread. Combine it all. We felt it. This indeed looks like the shaking that is about to rattle the earth. Repent, repent, repent. Dear friends, we will continue sharing more visions and divine revelations in our next video. Once again, for those who want to share their own testimony, I encourage you to share a video or an audio file to holyheartbeats7@gmail.com. I will do my best to share your unique testimonies in our next uploads. God bless. Hey everyone, thank you so much for watching. Stay safe, and I'll see you in our next video.